All right, Anthony.
Yes.
Anthony, where'd you grow up? Where are you from originally?
My name is Anthony Bernard. I grew up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, about an hour outside of Philadelphia.
What was your childhood like? You had both your parents?
Yeah, the first 3 years was somewhat normal. My mother took her life when I was 3 years old in an overdose of pills, and my father was kind of turned into alcoholic afterwards. I lived with my grandparents for a number of years after that, and till Pops remarried at about when I was 7 years old. Kind of grew up as a black sheep. My dad and stepmother had two brothers after me, two half brothers, and yeah, I guess it was somewhat normal, except maybe some emotional, distancing, feeling not a part of the family. But
What kind of kid were you in high school?
kind of not friends with anyone in particular. Didn't have much of I didn't fit into anyone's sort of category. Was generally good student, but my outlet was reading. I was kind of an antisocial child. Did a lot of reading. When I found out I could just escape into books, I was happy as a kid. Good student. Seemed promising. Was a pretty good, well-behaved child up until about 16, where somebody introduced me to pot, and I kind of felt like I belonged in a category of misfits. Maybe around 16, I kind of found a small what I felt like was a friend group. Basically, our commonality was pot and drinking, and fell apart.
After school, you went where?
Yeah. Well, it kind of was by myself for a little while. I just liked the little secret that I had. I could smoke a joint at night after everyone went to sleep. I found cigarettes, and it was like my little thing that I had to look forward to. And I left home the day before my 18th birthday. I had a job. I was working at McDonald's, and I was enrolled to go to college. But the day before my 18th birthday, I packed up all my stuff, went to work, and didn't go home. I grew up in kind of an emotionally, somewhat physically abusive childhood. Didn't appreciate dad and stepmom. And when I thought I was legally emancipated, I left. Thought I'd be able to figure out the world by myself, and I didn't. I was enrolled in college. I lived on campus, but dropped out of college and didn't continue going to classes for about 4 years. And it was just kind of 4 years worth of partying, experimental drugs and drinking. And
so you stayed on campus, but you...
Yeah, I lived in a college apartment. I had a full-time masonry job doing stone masonry back east. And yeah, I just lived on campus and drank and partied like I was a college student, but didn't go to classes. Found heavier drugs than pot and alcohol, and more club-like scene drugs, MDMA and psychedelics and stuff, going to music festivals, and advanced nowhere in terms of my life, just existing and kind of existing to have fun, or what I thought was a good time. After a couple years, I met a girl and thought I'd go back to school for her, and re-enrolled in college. Made it about 3 months before things broke off with her, and I dropped out again. Twice out of college. I'm about 23, 24 years old, and I started experimenting with heroin. That then friend group kind of moved on and graduated high school and moved back to their hometowns, and I was kind of left with myself.
And today you're in Skid Row?
Today I'm in Skid Row.
How long have you been down here?
About 4 months. This time around, I'm originally from Pennsylvania and Philadelphia. Big cities are where I find trouble. It's easy to disappear, and accessibility, and the drugs and the lifestyle. It's just I get trapped in big cities.
Is heroin still your drug today?
It is. Basically anything that takes me outside of myself, but heroin, yeah, is a real efficient means to doing that. after several years worth of drug use in institutions back east, I had the opportunity to come out to California for a rehab center about 3 or 4 years ago. I went through that rehab center and I got to experience about a year and a half worth of sobriety. It was probably the most productive and best year and a half of my life. And I had decided to go back east for a high school sweetheart of mine that I had reconnected with. We had a baby, and he's now 2.5 years old, and we split up when he was 4 months old. And rather than take that on the chin and do the right thing afterwards, I took it hard and relapsed, and wasn't a present father, have not been a present father to him in the last 2 years. It's been rough. I've watched my son's mom move on with somebody else. She's now due with some other man's child, and in an attempt to clean back up, I came back out to California and have not been able to plug in with the proper resources, and just continued the same thing I was doing out east, out here.
And you're staying where? You're just in a tent now, or?
Yeah, I'm homeless in LA. I came out here, I had a couple $100. I had a plan to get sober. I've since lost my wallet, lost my phone, don't have any money left, don't have any resources, right? I quickly depleted all the resources. I quickly lose everything I have when I'm using.
How do you support yourself now?
Lately, it's living off of residual unemployment money, and just the random hustles, meet people, this and that. Being a middleman, somebody looking for something, go and help them out and break it off, and it's just survival. Yeah.
What kind of emotions do you deal with? How old are you?
I'm 28 years old.
28.
When I'm using, not many, which is why it has its appeal. As soon as I've made these attempts, I get, I'll get sober and I'll have about 3 or 4 days worth of sobriety before I start to get this angst, and I'll look at the wreckage of the last 10 years, and there's a whole lot of shame. There's a lot of shame. There's a whole lot of fear that I'm not going to be the father that I always wanted to be. That there's a whole lot of shame that there's been a lot of wreckage in the past, people that I've hurt and people that I love, and rather than take that as motivation to make a change and do the right thing, it's just a catch-22 circle with hurting myself and hurting others and being angry at myself and wanting to escape myself. That it's just a vicious circle. I think that there's an appeal to the lifestyle of being homeless and using drugs, not only because I don't have to think about myself or look at myself or face and feel my emotions, but rather when I'm focused on how I'm going to sleep, where I'm going to eat, and how I'm going to get high, they seem like 3 major crucial things to pour all of my energy and attention into. And when I clean up, I have 15 years worth of wreckage that I've got to clean up before I could start making headway, and it's just a feeling of discouragement. Fear, shame, and regret would be a lot of the key emotions.
Do you suspect that maybe you haven't fully dealt with your mom's suicide when you were young?
I do believe there's a whole lot of character traits that I have that are a result of that. Relationship after relationship after relationship with women in my life over the last 15 years. It comes with this fear and this angst that they're going to leave, that ultimately ends up pushing them away. So yeah, I do. I feel like there are some character traits of mine that are a result of her and her death.
It's a heavy thing to deal with and process.
Yeah, I don't feel as though it's something that's at the forefront of my mind all the time, but I've noticed in my relations with others and the way that I view the world, then yeah, there are some ways that I look at the world.
What was your mom going through that she may have done that?
From my understanding, she was just depressed. She had some major depressive disorder. And I was kind of young, but the way that it was explained to me was that she just suffered from some extreme depression.
Yeah. What do you worry about now?
Right now, it's so easy for me to take a week and turn it into a month into 6 months, and 6 months into a year, and I'm at this point where I'm not getting any younger. My son's not getting any younger, and I have this desire to clean up and do the right thing, and I don't see a clear path as to how. And I guess my current fear is that this is where I'm going to be when I'm 40. This is where I'm going to be when I'm 50. I've had so many times over the last 15 years where I've put down drugs and alcohol, and I've had this confidence in not promising family or anyone other than myself that I'm going to do the right thing next time, and failing myself again and again. And there's just a lack of confidence that comes with that. So, as many resolves as I can make, I'm just scared that this is a life that I was doomed to.
You've tried to get clean.
I have, and yeah, with a lot of confidence, like I've said before, and then, but ultimately find myself, like I said, I can make a promise to myself one day and be in a completely different frame of mind 3 days later, where I just get bombarded with the anxiety and the fear and the shame and everything, and then I break the promise that I had made to myself just a few days prior. And it's made for a frustrating existence.
Sure. What is your biggest regret?
My biggest regret right now is being absent for the first 2.5 years of my son's life, and not being present to be a father to him, not only for him, but for his mother.
Heroin just makes it so difficult for you to get your life together.
It makes it difficult for that, but it also makes it difficult for anything in my life to have any sort of meaning. I could tell my grandparents and my son and my son's mother how much I love them, but my actions speak differently. And that's the most difficult thing, is wanting to convey the way that I feel inside towards them, and knowing that it falls on deaf ears because they just look at the actions rather than,
It's really going on in your
I
heart.
have an integrity problem. I could love them to death, but I don't love myself enough to stick around for them.
Yeah, drugs will do that. What do you think most people don't understand about addiction?
I think that they look at the action rather than the individual, and without understanding. So I've met so many interesting and good-hearted and kind people who just are lost. There's something in themselves that just is discontented by the life that's set up for them. There's a whole lot of mental illness and trauma. And my biggest thing, I think, for people who don't understand addiction is to just understand not to take it personally when it comes to family members and loved ones. I can understand how my actions would say, I don't love you and I don't care, but I don't think that could be further from the truth. I think that addicts a lot of times care too much, and maybe feelings a little too strong to handle sometimes, so they shut down, and it's not a very straightforward disease, we'll put it that way.
Yeah. What would you say is the most important thing you've learned in your life?
Most important thing I've learned, I'm not going to say don't eat the yellow snow. It goes quick. So I've watched 15 years go by very quickly, and I'm in the same position I am now as I was 15 years ago. Have I had a lot of life experience? I've met a lot of people, gained a lot of perspective and understanding about myself and others, and I believe so. But it goes just goes quick. I think to be present, and to be, I wish I'd have been present for the last several years of my life. Just be present.
All right. Anthony, thank you so much for sharing your story. I wish you the best of luck getting out of here.
Thank you.